It is a privilege to be with you today to celebrate this special occasion that stretches between San Antonio and Japan. The conferment of the Order of the Rising Sun from the Emperor of Japan by Consul General of Japan in Houston to lifelong San Antonian, former Mayor of San Antonio, and former U.S. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Henry G. Cisneros. The Consul General of Japan in Houston, Mr. Zentaro Naganuma, is our host for today's ceremony. And we give our thanks to Mr. Naganuma and the consulate for bringing this wonderful occasion to our community. Since Toyota's manufacturing facility is one of the most visible symbols of Secretary Cisneros' work to foster relationships, collaboration, cultural appreciation, economic development, and more between our region and Japan, our Experience Center is a fitting honor to have you here with us, and we hope you will have the opportunity to view the exhibits that showcase Toyota's work in this community as an employer and as a corporate citizen after the ceremony. Before I invite the Consul General, our honoree, and guest speakers to the stage, I would like to recognize our current and former elected officials in attendance. And I would ask that you please hold your applause until the end. We are honored to have, representing the 20th District of Texas in Washington, D.C., U.S. Congressman and co-chair of the U.S.-Japan Congressional Caucus, Joaquin Castro. Representing the Governor of the State of Texas, Executive Director of Economic Development and Tourism for the State of Texas, Adriana Cruz. Representing Bexar County, Judge the Honorable Peter Sakai. First Lady Rachel Sakai. Current Commissioner, Precinct 1, Rebecca Clay Flores. Former Judge and Mayor, Nelson Wolff. Former First Lady, Tracy Wolff. Representing the City of San Antonio, Mayor the Honorable Gina Ortiz Jones. City Manager Eric Walsh. The Mayor's Chief of Staff, Dr. Janice J.C. Carroll. Current City Council members, District 3, Phyllis Villagran. District 4, Edward Munguia. District 7, Marina Eldrete Gavito. District 8, Ivelisse Meza Gonzalez. District 9, Misty Spears. District 10, Mark White. Former Mayor, the Honorable Phil Hardberger. Former Mayor, the Honorable Ron Nierenberg. Former Mayor, the Honorable Julian Castro. American relationship, the Consul General of Japan in Houston, Mr. Zentaro Naganuma. Texas-Japan Office Director, Yuki Watanabe. Japan-America Society of San Antonio, Yuko Kawabe. Japanese Local Government Center in New York, Dr. Osamu Yoshizumi and Kazuki Yono. The Naoko Mitsui Shirane Foundation, Maki Wagner. Board members, and student volunteers who are assisting with this event. Thank you to the Shirane Foundation students. We are also pleased to recognize members of Toyota Motor North America's leadership team, including Executive Vice President Chris Nielsen, Senior Vice President Kevin Volkel, and our new plant president who has just joined Team Texas from Team Canada, Frank Voss. I would also like to thank the Toyota suppliers and compadres for joining us in today's celebration. Finally, we are thrilled to have many members of the Cisneros family in attendance today, including Secretary Cisneros' wife, Mary Alice Cisneros, their children, their families, the Secretary's siblings, and their families, and many friends. Welcome, all of you. Now, if you are able, please stand to welcome to the stage Consul General Naganuma, Secretary Henry Cisneros and Mary Alice Cisneros, Congressman Castro, Mayor Jones, and Judge Sakai. Please be seated. Now, it is my honor to welcome to the podium the Consul General of Japan in Houston, Mr. Zentaro Naganuma, who will lead us through the conferment ceremony.
Good morning. The Honorable Secretary Henry Cisneros and Mrs. Mary Alice Cisneros, the Honorable U.S. Congressman Joaquin Castro, the Honorable Mayor Gina Ortiz Jones, the Honorable Judge Peter Sakai, and Ms. Raquel Sakai, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Before I begin my remarks, please allow me to say a few words about the recent and terrible floods in Texas. I would like to express my deepest condolences and sympathies to the victims, the families, and all those affected by this tragedy. Japan is also regularly confronted with severe natural disasters. Each time we have faced these hardships, we have recovered with a spirit of resilience and kind assistance from the United States and other friendly countries. I am confident that Texas, with its great strength and resilience, will overcome this tragedy. It is my hope that today's celebration ceremony will serve as a positive force for that recovery and help bring encouragement to the people of Texas. Now, I will begin my remarks. Today, I have the distinct honor and privilege of presenting Secretary Henry Cisneros with the Order of the Rising Sun, gold raised with neck ribbon, on behalf of His Majesty, the Emperor of Japan. This decoration is in recognition of Secretary Cisneros' significant contributions to the promotion of exchange and mutual understanding between Japan and the United States. Secretary Cisneros' accomplishments cannot be described briefly. Therefore, I hope the chairs we have prepared are comfortable because I will use the next 3 hours to reflect on his achievements in detail. Please don't worry. I have also made sure that there will be water and snacks. More seriously, even 3 hours would not be enough to cover all that Secretary Cisneros has achieved. For this reason, I will focus on one of the highlights. That is the friendship between Secretary Cisneros and the late Baroness Naoko Shirane. Today, a deep and diverse exchange has been established between Japan and San Antonio. Much of this began with a friendship between Secretary Cisneros and Mrs. Shirane. Their friendship led to the creation of sister city relations between Kumamoto City and San Antonio, which is often referred to as a model of sister city exchange. It also led to the establishment of a Toyota plant in San Antonio, which is where we are gathered today. This plant is a powerful symbol of the economic cooperation between us. I cannot think of a more appropriate place to hold this ceremony, and I would like to express my sincere appreciation to our colleagues of Toyota for providing us with this wonderful venue and preparing everything for this ceremony. Even following Mrs. Shirley's passing, Secretary Cisneros has continued working to strengthen this relationship. Based on the foundation he has laid, there are currently more than 20 Japanese companies active in San Antonio, each making significant contributions to their local communities and jointly creating approximately 9,000 jobs in San Antonio. Thank you. The latest examples are Yamaguchi Heavy Industry and Sanko America Corporation, both of which have decided to build a factory in San Antonio. And thank you. And the relationship between Japan and San Antonio has been growing not only economically, but in the fields of culture and education as well. Just to mention a couple of examples, the Naoko Shirane Foundation, of which Secretary Cisneros serves as president, conducts an annual youth exchange program with Japan. Additionally, UTSA has decided to establish a new East Asia major that will soon be available to students. Both serve to strengthen and deepen our cooperation and relationship further. And I would like to take this opportunity to introduce the representatives of these organizations who have joined us today. Representatives, please raise your hand when I call your names so that we can recognize you. Mr. Yamaguchi of Yamaguchi Heavy Industry, are you there? Thank you. Mr. Araki of Sanko America Corporation. Mrs. Salazar, Ms. Salazar, Executive Vice President of UTSA. Thank you. Mr. Miramontes, Vice Chairman of the Naoko Shirane Foundation. And student volunteers of the Naoko Shirane Foundation who recently visited Japan. Are you here? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask for your continued and kind support to ensure the success of their important mission. Secretary Cisneros has shown how the determination of one outstanding person and friendship can lead to great contribution to society. Therefore, in order to express our deep gratitude and engrave his achievements in our history, I would now like to present Secretary Cisneros with the Order of the Rising Sun, gold raised with neck ribbon. First, I will present him with the certificate. I will read the certificate in Japanese, and thereafter I will read the English translation of the certificate. Secretary Cisneros, please come to the front. 本国天皇はアメリカ合衆国人ヘンリー・ガブリエル・シスネロスに旭日中綬章を贈与する。皇居において辞をさせる。令和7年4月29日。Patent of Decoration. The Emperor of Japan does hereby confer upon Mr. Henry Gabriel Cisneros, United States of America, the Order of the Rising Sun, gold raised with neck ribbon. In witness thereof, the seal of state has been affixed to these presents at the Imperial Palace. The 29th day, the the 4th month, the 7th year of labor. Thank you. Please be seated. Now I will confer the cordon on Secretary Cisneros. Because Secretary Cisneros is a bigger person in not only humanity, but also height. Please allow me to ask him to sit while I place the order on him. Thank you. I also like to present a bouquet of flowers to Mrs. Cisneros as a token of the deep gratitude of the government and people of Japan. Mrs. Cisneros, please. The international community is currently facing various and serious challenges. And the government and people of Japan believe that Japan and the United States will be able to work together more closely to help solve these problems. I trust that the participants in this meeting will follow the footsteps of Secretary Cisneros and will help contribute to the advancement of the Japan-US relationship. Finally, as you may be aware, the cherry blossom, which we call sakura, is a symbol of Japan alongside the rising sun. To commemorate today's ceremony, we have prepared for everybody sakura mochi, which is a confection, a rice-based confection wrapped in sakura leaf and sharing the color of cherry blossom. I believe that the contribution you will make and we will make will be just as colorful as Japanese cherry blossoms. Thank you.
Now we will hear Secretary Cisneros.
Consul General Naganuma, please express my sincerest gratitude to His Majesty the Emperor Naruhito. Thank you, sir, as the representative of the government of Japan for conferring it. We all pray for the people in Japan and the Pacific region who may be threatened by the tsunami that occurred last evening. We all remember the death and damage in Fukushima in 2011 and know how powerful a tsunami can be. We all join you in the preparations and the actions that will have to be taken in the wake of this situation. I also want to thank everyone who is present today for your understanding of the importance of strengthening the U.S.-Japan partnership. Thank you for being here. Thank you to County Judge Sakai, to Mayor Jones, to Congressman Castro, and distinguished public officials who are present. Thank you to my family, especially my wife, Mary Alice, a partner in all of our public endeavors. And I join my daughters, Teresa and Mercedes, who are here, and their spouses, Sean and Brad, my son, John Paul, and my granddaughter, Natalia, in saying how much we appreciate and love Mary Alice. To my brothers, George and Tim, and my sister Tina, who are present, and their spouses, and to the extended Cisneros and Perez family who are here. Thank you to Toyota officers. We're privileged to have 3 previous presidents of Toyota Texas, and those of you who've worked with Toyota over the last few years, you know Chris Nielsen, Kevin Volkel, and Suzanne Cusanas, who have been the presidents over the last several decades. Would you just let us recognize you guys wherever we are, right over here. And we congratulate Suzanne for her new assignment as production engineering for all of North America. So Suzanne has gone from this role here to a responsibility for all of Toyota in engineering. Every new model, every new innovation that is applied has to be converted through engineering into hard product, and that's Suzanne's job. Congratulations, Suzanne. And also thank you for making this possible. When I learned of this award, and by the way, this is not an award you apply for or, or campaign for, but you are notified that the Emperor has made a decision. When I got that word, I called Suzanne. I said, I think I'd like to do it at the Toyota plant because it's the most visible manifestation of what we've worked on. And Suzanne, on that phone call, said, yes, let's do it. So all of this happening here today is Suzanne's decision. Thank you, Suzanne. And we welcome the new president of Toyota Texas, Frank Voss, who has 23 years, including most recently the head of Canada for Toyota, and he'll be the person here at this plant, responsible for this plant, but also beyond the plant, all of Toyota operations into Mexico, including as far as Guanajuato and places like that. So Frank, thank you. Welcome, welcome. We look forward to working with you. Thank you to leaders of the Japanese and American businesses and civic organizations who are present, and I do want to single out among many, many friends and distinguished people, 2 special guests who are here, colleagues from New York and Detroit, Suzanne Shank and Bill Thompson. Thank you for coming this distance. And to friends and colleagues all who have built the groundwork for the San Antonio, Japan partnership of the last 40 years. It is with true humility that I stand before you today because no individual can be said to represent the immensity of the beneficial relationship between San Antonio and Japan. Such a relationship can flourish only when many people achieve deep understandings and when many people work together. So I stand before you as only one small player in a larger tableau in which each of you is part. We each have a part, and we each do our part. Thank you to all of you for your engagement, understanding, support of this endeavor of the last 40 years. For my part, my first visit to Japan was in 1971 as a White House fellow, and that was 54 years ago. I saw the reverence of the Japanese people for their proud origins as an island nation with an interwoven Shinto, Buddhist, and Confucian heritages. I was in awe of the single-mindedness of purpose to achieve pioneering breakthroughs in industry after industry. I glimpsed the beauty of Japanese culture in the tree-shaded temple gardens, in the architecture that inspired Frank Lloyd Wright to integrate rich wood tones and green vistas into his designs, in the evocative strains of Japanese music, and in the sensitive expressiveness of Japanese art and calligraphy. Then and there became my lifelong admiration for all things Japanese. 4 years later, I was on the San Antonio City Council, and my focus was on economic mobility for our residents. And that directed me back to what I had seen in Japan's economic objectives and Japan's egalitarian principles of education and inclusion. Then, 6 years later, as mayor, many of you joined our efforts to help San Antonio participate in the tidal wave of Japanese investments in the United States, in the automotive sector, in technology, and in the biomedical sector. This story has many heroes and heroines, and many moments to remember, far too many to recount here. So please allow me just 3 short stories. First story. One Friday afternoon in 1985, Bob Marbut, who was then the chair of our Target 90 Goals program, called me from a meeting of an international nonprofit where he served with Baroness Naoko Shirani, a daughter of the great Mitsui family. He said, "I know you probably have a busy schedule tomorrow, but I'm going to ask you to free up your day to meet a person who could be immensely helpful to San Antonio." Bob knew that we had begun a dialogue with Japanese leaders, and he had piqued Mrs. Shirani's interest about a possible role in helping us. That Saturday began a life-altering working relationship. Mrs. Shirani and her husband Seiichi agreed to establish a San Antonio Office of Representation in Tokyo. One of the first projects was the Sister City Partnership with Kumamoto. In fact, a group of San Antonians here today will be making keynote presentations as a Sister City Summit in Japan this September because of the global reputation of the San Antonio-Kumamoto Partnership. Mrs. Shirani introduced us to industry leaders in Japan, such as Mr. Morita of Sony, and of course, Dr. Toyoda. Mrs. Shirani was a true citizen of the world. Even more, she was a woman of peace. Having seen the destruction, waste, and horror of war in her country, every instinct led her to believe that the way to end the cruelty of war and heal painful divisions is a combination of honest motivations and sincere understandings that come from the human heart. Sadly, my last trip to see her was not for business. After Mrs. Shirani was diagnosed with cancer in San Antonio, and there are a number of people present here today, like Jane Macon and Beth Costello and Sherry Dawashadi, who literally took care of her, took her to the doctor and discovered the cancer. And we soon learned after she returned to Japan that her health was deteriorating rapidly. I flew to Japan to visit her in the hospital. She was weak, but she greeted me with her characteristic wit and her gentle smile. After a happy conversation, as I prepared to leave, she asked me to help her move to a chair beside a window that overlooked a majestic tree. She settled into the chair with pillows, and I made my way to the door. I stopped and turned around as the thought struck me that this was the last moment I would ever see my dear friend. As she sat by the window, a ray of sun made its way through the leaves and lighted her face. The glow on her face created a transcendent moment, and for me, an indelible vision of a lady who carried all the dignity of Japan in her spirit, a spirit she had shared with our San Antonio. Special person, and that's why this photograph is here, with that smile, and on it, it explains why she has been designated a madrina of this plant. Madrina meaning some combination of mother, godmother, and patroness. But that is Naoko Shirani. Second story. Over the years, our exchanges with Japan deepened, and I commend every mayor and every city council since for continuing the partnership. Mayor Wolf on his watch, Mayor Hardberger on his watch, Mayor Castro on his watch, Mayor Nuremberg, every mayor in between. I actually am proud of Mary Alice for one of those. She served on one of those city councils with Mayor Hardberger, a delegation to Japan herself. San Antonio's economic development leaders and our state of Texas officials all understood the value of those networks. And in due course, the potential for a large Toyota investment in San Antonio came into view. Nelson Wolff was the mayor, Nelson Wolff was the county judge. Ed Garza was the mayor, and they worked on a transaction that was very complex. It involved land assembly, firms, worker training, and tax structures. Now, in operation, this plant is the perfect manifestation of the reciprocity that comes from respectful international partnerships. Toyota, whose global headquarters is in Japan, sells high-quality vehicles manufactured at this plant, allowing it to benefit from economic stability and the talents of the workforce for which this city and state are known. In return, San Antonio is home to an automotive plant with one of the most impressive physical footprints in the world, where approximately 200,000 Tundras and Sequoias are produced annually. That comes to, if you do the math, an average of one every minute year around rolling off the assembly line here, 200,000. Where 23 supplier firms function in a unique industrial campus, where San Antonio entrepreneurs have grown major companies from scratch, and where, most importantly, more than 10,000 local families. The result is the transformation of San Antonio from a city with a small manufacturing base to the center point of an internationally significant automotive complex that stretches from Dallas through Austin to San Antonio, Guanajuato, and San Luis Potosí in Mexico. And San Antonio is the center of it. In the most recent Federal Reserve statistics, San Antonio outpaced the state and the nation. San Antonians can see with their own eyes how we can take the human skills of building, making, producing, designing, engineering, financing, and creating, and transform those skills into family incomes for our marginalized brothers and sisters, into education and training for our talented young, and into a better quality of life for all of us. Many of you in this room are part of that equation. Doing these kinds of transactions or focusing on the training, the education. We have present the mayor, the city manager, the county judge, San Antonio Water System, CPS, the private sector, the Texas Economic Development Entity on one hand, and we have also the community college, pre-K for SA, Ready to Work, the universities, the San Antonio Education Partnership, Cafe College, and the school districts. And only in San Antonio are those people working together all the time. It really is the San Antonio way. We know there is a Toyota way, but there's also a San Antonio way. And as Toyota's capabilities advance, and as the markets for Toyota's futuristic products, note futuristic, it's robotics, it's AI, it's a lot of things, as those markets expand, the people of our city have proven they can undertake more important assignments when called upon. At a higher level, we can see that the U.S.-Japan relationship exists in a global context. Let's be frank. That includes China's ambitions for dominance. Our framework for countering China's aggressive intentions must be at the level of U.S.-Japan cooperation in semiconductors, robotics, and AI, intellectual property, digital supply innovations, energy collaborations, and alternative rare earth materials. I was very pleased to read in the Wall Street Journal a couple of days ago that Japan, the government of Japan, not the private sector, the government of Japan is investing $550 billion in an American sovereign wealth fund that the United States government and private sector will be able to deploy into precisely these kinds of things. So we're getting it. The stakes are too great to allow the U.S.-Japan relationship to spiral downward over tariffs on steel or soybeans or rice, when we live in a world in which our relationship must transcend traditional transactions and must rise to the level of strategic, economic, technological, and security partnership. The U.S. and Japan must act and plan in tighter collaboration now more than ever. Fortunately, San Antonio has a voice in Japan at this critical time in Mrs. Shirani's successor, Hiro Watanabe, who is here with us today. Hiro, thank you for your great, 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 great work. Mayor, judge, and congressman, and other public leaders, I know you will keep a close eye on the interplay between international economic and security architecture and the interests of our own residents at home, because we live in a world in which global and local are more interwoven than ever. And in this city, we can show how it's done and explain why it's important. And let me just say as an aside, we are very fortunate that we have in our three key leaders here people who are right in the center of these issues. Our mayor has many positive attributes and qualities which she will show in her leadership. But she was Undersecretary of the entire United States Air Force, knowledgeable about security issues around the world, and was an intelligence officer in the Air Force before that. If we ever needed somebody who understands the big picture, the big play, and is our mayor, we have in our county judge a person whose name is Sakai. And when he goes to Japan, he plays it to the hilt. But it's hugely important. It's historic, actually. It's historic. And we have in our congressman a member of key committees that are relevant to all of this picture. The Foreign Affairs, Committee on Foreign Affairs, and the Select Committee on Intelligence in Joaquin Castro. So you got the brain power. We have the brain power to play in this arena going forward. Third story. San Antonio's relationship with Japan has always superseded the purely economic. The first round of partnerships in the 1980s included exchanges between aquifer scientists, because Kumamoto has an aquifer like we do, and Little League baseball teams. The beautiful Japanese garden at the San Antonio Botanical Center with the statue of Mrs. Shirane is a product of one of those exchanges. Truth story. When the Japanese from Kumamoto came to see our Japanese sunken garden, I expected them to be excited. They stood there and they said, "Mr. Mayor, this is not a Japanese garden." This is not a Japanese garden, but we will build you one. So they send a delegation, and the result is the garden that we have at the Botanical Center. There's another story associated with that. Right in this room, when Victor Miramontes and friends had a statue made of Mrs. Shirani, it was made as sculptors do, without a smile. Mrs. Toyoda, Dr. Toyoda's wife, who is a first cousin of Mrs. Shirani, that tells you a little bit about her placement in things in Japan, said, "That's not her. She always had a smile." So we had to take the statue back and redo it with a smile. And that's the statue that's now at the Botanical Center. Today, our intent is to build an arboretum in San Antonio, and that can trace its roots, believe it or not, to Kumamoto, because Kumamoto is known as a city of trees. I joined my colleagues from Arboretum San Antonio as we reserve space for a grove of Japanese cherry trees. In fact, the Consul General this afternoon is going to the site of the Arboretum to look at how this might work. We will work with him, we will work with our sister city to place them in the Arboretum so that our citizens can delight as they bloom every spring in beautiful shades of pink. One more way to celebrate the blossoming of Japanese and American cultures in San Antonio, and one more way for us to learn the environmental consciousness that is so evident in Japan. San Antonio has worked hard to add cultural institutions that demonstrate our respect for Japanese and Asian cultures, our Japanese language programs, the Japanese curricula in our schools and colleges, and the Asian Resource Center. I see that former City Councilwoman Chan is here and now is leading and has that under construction. Among these initiatives, these cultural initiatives, one that the Council General made reference to is the Naoko Mitsui Shirani Foundation. And I want then to thank the author of that concept, which was to demonstrate to Japan the sincerity of our efforts by keeping an ongoing exchange. And that is Victor Miramontes, who's like a brother and has been, he's the closer on everything I do. I started and he finishes. But he brings legal and financial expertise far better than mine to the job. That's why some of these things work. Thank you, Victor. And he and the other Toyota compadres came up with this Shirani Foundation, and it sponsors trips to Japan for San Antonio students. We had a trip in June for 18 days with students going to Japan. Among one of those students is a young man who will begin a year in Japan in a couple of weeks, and that is Jonah Nirenberg, the son of our mayor. Jonah, are you here somewhere? There he is, back there. Jonah Nirenberg. And another young man who is here is a young man named Pooray, who's a graduate of Lanier High School in the core city, not exposed to a lot of opportunities, but he went to Japan. And it cemented his own instinct that he wants to be in international studies. And in 2 weeks, he arrived. Where are you? All right. So these then are the three storylines that convey a sense of the collegial work of decades that we celebrate today. For the future, we would be wise to assure that Japan continues to be our dynamic partner. An island nation with 1.5 fourth largest economy in the world. No people in the history of mankind have willed themselves into such a complete transformation from militarism to an unwavering and total commitment to peaceful prosperity in so short a time. Study it. Nowhere in the world have we seen a transformation like that which Japan has undergone. We in America can show our fellow Americans, we in San Antonio, can show our fellow Americans the importance of standing resolutely with Japan as partners in uplifting democracy, in promoting principled economic rules, and in strengthening global institutions seeking world peace. It is clear that San Antonio's partnership with Japan has been an important part of what we have achieved, and that it must be a continuing thread in our forward quest. Together, San Antonio and Japan stand as evidence of what can be achieved through sincere mutual respect and through continuous and tireless striving. Striving that passes from one generation of leaders to the next, and striving that constantly and firmly embraces the hopes of people in Japan and in San Antonio. I close by expressing my profound gratitude to Emperor Naruhito and to the nation of Japan for recognizing our work together here in our beloved San Antonio. Thank you.
Again, congratulations, Secretary Cisneros, and thank you for your many contributions to the Japanese-American relationship. This community is stronger because of your work. Now, I invite Congressman Joaquin Castro to share his remarks.
Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here with you this morning. To the Council General, to the distinguished visitors from Japan, our mayor, our county judge, most of all to Secretary and Mayor Henry Cisneros and to his family, I want to say congratulations. There is not in San Antonio an economic development project or a long-term vision for our city's success which Henry's mind and hands have not touched. His legacy is unrivaled in our city in terms of public service. I want to thank you, Henry, so much for 50 years of service to San Antonio. And also for a moment to say thank you to Mary Alice and Mercedes, my former classmate in college, and Henry's kids. I know as somebody who serves in public office with my wife and 3 kids of my own, that the sacrifices go across the family, and I believe, too, so should the acknowledgments and the celebrations. Congratulations to you all as well. Henry's example has stretched through generations of political leaders in this city and throughout the state of Texas, and I believe the country. And I want to give you just one example of what that meant for me. In 2013, in my first year in Congress, I was presented the opportunity of being one of the co-founders of the U.S.-Japan Caucus. U.S.-Japan Caucus to bring together members of the United States Congress and the House of Representatives and members of the Japanese Diet. And as you can imagine, the first year of Congress, you're still learning your way in your committees and the floor and everything. And my schedule was incredibly busy that year. But I thought about Henry's example and how so many years before, he had planted the seeds for San Antonio's success, for landing Toyota's 6th North American manufacturing plant, and the idea that success comes not only through the quick and short-term things that we do as elected officials or public servants, but in the long-term seeds that we plant. And so in 2013, I co-founded with a Republican colleague the U.S.-Japan Caucus. That would not have happened but for the inspiration of Henry Cisneros. Thank you, Henry, for being a North Star in so many ways. And, you know, there's also a temptation when you serve in politics that once you're out of politics to get as far away from it as you possibly can. And as somebody who's in the thick of it now, I wouldn't blame anybody, quite honestly, for doing that. But what's been remarkable about Henry is that over the years, he not only during his service, but once the official titles were all ended, he has literally kept up the same involvement day after day after day, week after week, in seeing to San Antonio's success. That is truly remarkable and special for somebody in our city. I can't think of a greater Texan or American who is more deserving of this honor than our great friend, Henry Cisneros. Thank you so much for all of your work.
Now, I welcome our newly inaugurated Mayor, Gina Ortiz-Jones, to share her thoughts on this remarkable occasion.
Great. Well, good morning. Ohayo gozaimasu. Thank you, Council General. You honor us with your presence. Mr. Secretary, thank you. Mary Alice, congratulations, and welcome to the entire Cisneros Perez family, and congratulations on this remarkable honor. I'm going to deviate from my comments just a little bit because the Secretary, as he is apt to do, reminds us of things we should also consider. Right? And while we are here honoring his example, he reminds us of the importance of the international connection between our two communities at this moment in time. And to your point, sir, having just served as the Undersecretary of the Air Force, I saw firsthand the importance of the U.S.-Japan relationship, in particular when it comes to defense. And oftentimes, it is in fact the economic relationships that will help to be the calming factor in these times, as we are reminded of the true consequences, both in cost, but also to livelihoods of rash decisions. And so thank you, sir, and Counsel General. You have my commitment to, I know we're going to have conversations later about security, but it's important that we also right? Just newly. But I think it really speaks. This is the third highest honor that Japan can confer on any individual. And we're so thankful that this son of San Antonio, through his hard work and his dedication, has brought, once again, great honor to our community. So, Mr. Secretary, I say, omodeto gozaimasu. Thank you again to everybody that took the time to join and celebrate this wonderful accomplishment for the Secretary, but certainly accomplishment for San Antonio as well. Thank you. Arigato gozaimasu. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Jones. Now, please turn your attention to the screen for a special video message from Mr. Kazufumi Onishi, Mayor of Kumamoto, San Antonio's sister city in Japan since 1987.
Hello everyone, I'm Kazufumi Onishi, the Mayor of Kumamoto City. On the occasion of the conferment ceremony for Henry Cisneros, and on behalf of the citizens of Kumamoto City, allow me to extend my salutations. I offer you my deepest gratitude for your great efforts toward the exchange between San Antonio and our city over a prolonged period of time. And now, your accomplishments have been recognized in the spring of 2025 with your conferment of the Order of the Rising Sun with Golden Rays. I'm overjoyed by your decorations and feel proud as if I had received it myself. Congratulations. You have played a wide range of active roles, not only with your accomplishments as the Mayor of San Antonio, but also in the key position of Secretary of Housing and Urban Development after your tenure as mayor. Once again, you have my deepest respect for your ongoing efforts in bringing Japan and America through grassroots youth and citizen-to-citizen-based exchange as the president of the Naoko Mitsui Shirane Foundation. The exchange between San Antonio and our city goes back to 1987, when the late Naoko Shirane, the Japanese representative to San Antonio at the time, served as the mediator in realizing the sister city agreement under your firm leadership. It seems distinct that you visited Japan in 1974, where you first developed an interest in the system and development of our country, and later choose our city among many during your tenure as mayor. I believe these strong ties that have continued to the present day and the fruits of your labor. Kumamoto City hopes to continue strengthen the bonds of friendship between our two cities through ongoing collaboration and partnership. For that, we respectfully ask for your continued support. In closing, I would like to once again extend my heartfelt congratulations to Mr. Cisneros on this well-deserved honor. I offer my sincere wishes for your continued health and success, and for the ongoing growth and prosperity of both San Antonio and Kumamoto City. With these sentiments, I conclude my message of celebration.
That's an honor. What an honor to have that message from Mayor Onishi. Now, I am pleased to invite Bexar County Judge, the Honorable Peter Sakai, to give his remarks before leading us all in a toast for this special occasion.
Suzanne, can I go ahead and just let everybody understand that I'm going to kind of stretch? So also, Council General, thank you for the invitation. I heard in your opening remarks that I have 3 hours to say? Okay. So no, as you know, we got to stay on script and we got to stay on time. Henry, Mary Alice, kids, you're big kids with kids, and so are our kids and our grandchildren. So what a extraordinary time for me. As a point of personal privilege, as I stretch that out, let me just say that I want to welcome Yamaguchi Heavy Industries. Yamaguchi-san, he goes by the name of Tony. Thank you, Tony. Sanko, I understand the representative for Sanko Industries. Just want to let you all know that how much I appreciate them being here today. But more importantly, a year ago, or approximately a year ago, in my trip to Japan, we first met. And Henry, you're right. I played the Japanese card, 2 of the 2. Told him I was a Japanese American and that my grandparents immigrated from Japan nearly 100 years ago. And so I shared my story of my family of immigrants, as you have a family of immigrants. And so that is something that is super special to me, and why today's special is because I want to welcome our new Japanese partners. Council General, I'm not expecting a award of the Rising Sun, but maybe a certificate of appreciation. And we could have a ceremony at the new manufacturing plants that are yet to come. So as you can see, I try to set it all up, okay? Of course, let me just thank everybody who's here today. So let me just share a few words, and then we'll do our toast. And Suzanne, give me the clear sign that everybody has their glass of champagne. But today, it is an extraordinary privilege to stand among you and pay tribute to the Honorable Henry Cisneros and his family, recipient of the Order of the Rising Sun, Japan's most esteemed recognition. This award not only honors Henry's remarkable service and leadership, but also the enduring bridge he has built between Japan, the United States, Texas, and above all, our beloved community of San Antonio and Bexar County. We have all witnessed Henry's unwavering dedication, his vision, his efforts, and the profound impact of his contributions. Yet, let me offer a deeper perspective on the true magnitude of this honor. As a Japanese American, Nikkei Sansei, I'm especially reminded that our journeys are never walked alone. In Japanese tradition, ancestors are revered as the Japanese word sore, spirits, guiding, protecting, inspiring us from beyond. I feel the presence of my ancestors and the wisdom and the guidance as a constant beacon for me. In the quiet strength of Henry's leadership, that's relative, I see the spirits of his parents, George, Elvira Munguia Cisneros, whose example of public service, cultural pride, and relentless work ethic shaped not only Henry, but also the family legacy that continues to influence his children and his grandchildren. Like the Japanese word, kasuko, the Japanese ideal of an unbroken family chain, Henry's heritage is a living force, a foundation which he's built his life of service. Both Mexican and Japanese cultures share a profound reverence for those who came before us, honoring the knowledge, the values, the traditions passed down through generations. In Henry's case, this reverence is not simply a matter of heritage. It is the very source of his courage, his compassion, and his drive to serve. So as we honor Henry today, let us remember that his achievements are not his alone, but also the triumph of his family, the legacy, and the powerful spirit of our community. So with deepest admiration, are we ready to do the toast? Oh, it's cider, it's not alcohol, all right? So I don't want any complaints to my office. We thought we were going to get champagne, alcoholic beverages. All right, thank you, Suzanne. See, that's a Toyota way. Toyota way. So at this time, I'll ask that you raise the glasses to Henry Cisneros for his visionary leadership, the devotion to our community, and the lasting alliances for his, and never forget what he has done for our nation, our country, our community. Kampai, salute, cheers.
Mic test 1 2 1 2.